Thank you. Thank you. Top of the morning to each of you. Hey, glad you made it on this Friday, January 8th. Happy New Year's to each of you as we begin what some may view as a tough and challenging year here in 21 as we left just a tumultuous 2020. It was tough for everyone, tough for me, tough for you. But the question is, how do we get through a challenging time or these challenging times? How do you and I get through chaotic times? I'm going to simply share my heart this morning. There's so much going on. There's social unrest, civil unrest, leadership. We're in a time in our society and in our history where we're going through what I like to call a leadership sad environment. Leadership sad because we have leaders at local level, state level, federal level, who, for whatever reason, they're not putting people first. And today's session, we will look at specifically how to lead through tough times, and more importantly, how to be effective in our leadership during tough times. Each and every one of us this morning, or afternoon, depending on where you're from. You may be from the East Coast. You may be from a different country. You may be over in Europe, Africa, over in Australia, down under. I see you. Hey, no matter where you're from, it's tough. Dwight Eisenhower, he had a profound saying, and Dwight Eisenhower said, "You don't lead by hitting people over the head. That's assault. That's not leadership." Dwight, the great famed, former President Dwight D. Eisenhower said that, and I think about where we are today. There are two, and for those of you who are taking notes, there are two columns. On the left side, we'll say left and right, but I'm not talking about Democrats and Republicans. I'm talking about how to effectively lead through challenging and tough times. On your left hand, or if you're taking notes on the left side, just write the word directing. Write the word directing. And underneath directing is a word you would write authoritative. The second word would be talking. The third word underneath that left-hand column, if you're taking notes, and you may go back and watch this later, the third word that you would write, this is how we effectively lead through tough times. Now this left side, this is what directing looks like. This is what a lot of people are doing right now as we experience leadership sad leadership. They're authoritative, they're talking. The third word, or the third thing, is top down. This is all under the word directing. The theme is directing here. We have authoritative, we have talking, we have top down. The fourth word is enlisting. Enlisting. The fifth word is assuming. Assuming. The sixth word underneath directing is gives answers. This is on the left side. This is your left hand. We're directing. We're authoritative. We're talking. It's top down. It's enlisting. It's assuming. It's giving answers. And lastly, it's my agenda. It's my agenda under directing. Now, I want you to write over on the right-hand side, or jot down maybe the second tier of lists. This is how we effectively lead through tough times. No, we don't need to be authoritative. We do not need to be talking. We do not need to be a top-down model. Right, making a difference. I'm all about making a difference. If we're going to make a difference and we're going to lead through tough times, challenging times for others and ourselves, we need to make a difference. And so on the right hand or the right side, we have the left side, which was directing. The right side is going to be making a difference. And on that right side, instead of authoritative, we're going to be collaborative. We're going to be collaborative. We're going to work together. I was on a call with leaders from other countries, more than 40 different nations was on a call. And I was asked, they said, Travis, hey, we just have one question. And the gentleman was upset. He was frustrated. He said, Travis, so many people, whether they're for or against us, they lie to us. They tell us things that we want to hear at times. They say things that really devalue us. How do we get through that when people who are sometimes for us and are sometimes against us talk down to us? How do we get through that? My response was this, talking about collaborative efforts and collaboration here. Regardless if someone is for or against you, regardless, it does not matter. My stance is I have to be for the other individual. And it's hard. It's hard. It's easy to say. I understand. Oh, you throwing stuff at your screen. You're trying to hit me. I see you. I see you. I see you. I see the stuff being thrown at me right now. I get it. It's tough. It's tough when people are talking bad about you or talking bad to you or disrespecting you to your face. It's tough. I'm not here to say that it's easy. But what I am saying is that if we keep the focus on, regardless of if they're for or against me, I'm going to keep my focus on being for them. And that's collaborative. That's how we make a difference. The second word underneath making a difference is listening. Remember, under directing, we had the word talking. Under making a difference on the right side, we have the word listening. The third word underneath making a difference is side by side. Remember, on the left-hand side, we had underneath directing, it was top down. It was you do as I say because I'm above you, my degrees and my social status and my social economic position. You're below me. You're beneath me. No. The focus needs to be, in order to make a difference and to lead through tough times, it doesn't matter that people are younger than us. It doesn't matter if they're older, younger, less experienced, more experienced. Hey, let's be side by side. We're going to be collaborative. We have to have collaboration if we're going to make a difference. We have to listen if we're going to make a difference. Right now, we have so many people talking about what's been happening on the East Coast and what happened in DC on yesterday. At the end of the day, we have to listen. We can't talk through what's going on. We have to listen. People are saying that the police chief should have resigned because he did the wrong things. He did this and he did that. He didn't step up. He didn't do this. Hey, we need to listen. Have we heard his perspective? Have we heard his perspective? We need to be side by side. The fourth word underneath making a difference, empowering. Underneath directing on the left-hand side, it was the word enlisting. Enlisting. If we're going to make a difference, we have to empower. If we're going to make a difference, the next word, the fifth word, number 5, under making a difference, is understanding. Understanding. I have to be able to understand in order to make a difference. Recently, I lost my 97-year-old grandmother in the great state of Tennessee. I flew out of Phoenix, Arizona, going to in this COVID environment. And I was going to Tennessee, flying into Nashville. And there was a couple on the flight. They were sitting in the aisle, across the aisle from me. And they were having a conversation. And I wasn't listening to their conversation. I wasn't paying attention, but they looked down. Their body gestures, their total being just looked like things weren't right. And so I spoke up and I said, "Hey, how are you doing?" And their response was, "We're not doing good." The reason was they lost a family member. And they said, "We lost a near and dear family member," only to find out that it was their pet that they had for 19 years. 19 years they had this pet. It was a dog. And in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, you're thinking and talking about a pet when I'm on the same flight as you, going to the same city as you in Nashville to bury my 97-year-old grandmother. And I could have, like many people would have said, well, here in comparison, I'm going to bury my grandmother and you're upset about a pet. But I didn't. I listened. What I learned was the reason why it was so upsetting for the family is because the mother and father of the bride, the wife, her mother and father had brought that dog to them 19 years ago, right before they were tragically killed in a car accident. So their memory of this pet for 19 years was really history of mom and dad bringing something to them that has brought so much joy, so much memory, removed so much pain for 19 years. It was the understanding approach that I was able to take and I was focused on, because in my mind, in my mind, I did want to say, man, I'm struggling with the loss of my 97-year-old grandmother, but I focused on making a difference. If you and I are going to make a difference and we're going to lead through challenging times, and we are in some challenging times, we have to make a difference. We have to be collaborative. We have to listen. Yes, it's good to talk and give feedback, but first we have to listen. So many of us, the first thing we want to do is talk. We want to add what we know and what we think we know. Think first to listen. We want to work side by side with others. It's not a top-down approach, side by side. We want to have an empowering approach and not an enlisting approach. We want to be understanding. The sixth word on the left-hand side, the sixth word underneath directing was give answers. We give answers. Well, if we're going to make a difference, if we're going to lead through tough times, we need to ask questions. Ask questions. I try to always, every opportunity I get, no matter who I'm around or who I'm with, I try to ask questions. Recently, I was with a group of young adults. I'm probably the oldest one here in this session this morning, this afternoon, this evening, depending on where you are. I'm 44. I celebrated my 44th birthday just a few weeks ago in December. And I was with a group of young adults in their 20s. And it was virtual. I wasn't with them physically. And it was a 90-minute session. And I spent probably 20 to 25 minutes asking questions. And at the end of the session, and a couple of emails that followed our session, I received comments. questions. Travis, hey, you're older. You're more experienced, and we find it odd that you asked so many questions of us. Why is that? It's because if we're going to make a difference, we have to learn. My mom used to always tell me, son, if you're going to be effective in this life, my mom and my dad, my mom would always say it, and my dad would just say, yep, she's right. My mom would always say, you'll need to do three things. Three things in life. These three things, I promise you, these three things, and I've been doing them. And she would say them all the time. My mom would say, Travis, you need to learn, you need to unlearn, and you need to relearn. You need to learn how to do things, learn the process, learn what it takes. But then, because things always change is inevitable. Change is going to happen. You need to unlearn what you learned months, years ago. You need to unlearn that. And then you need to take the time to relearn. That's my mom. That's what my mom told me. She drilled that in me. And as a young man, I was like, yeah, whatever. That means nothing to me. Boy, is she right. Boy, is she right. I find myself asking questions every opportunity I get, because what I knew yesterday has no bearing on what I need and what is needed for today. My grandmother's 97 when she passed. We couldn't use yesterday's antics with today's challenges. The challenges of yesteryear in the 1940s and 50s, they were different than the challenges than we have today. But if we ask questions, we can get through it. Underneath the word directing on the left-hand side, we had the word my agenda. Underneath making a difference, please put the word your agenda. It's not about me. It's about you. It's about the other person. So often we get caught up in our own agendas and how we think it should be and how we think the show should go and how I think this session should be run. Well, Travis, you're wearing a blue shirt today and you probably would have looked better in red. And Travis, you shaved and you probably shouldn't have shaved. And well, guess what? It's your agenda. It's not about me. It's about you. Days ago, I started working on this as we prepared, as Toastmasters International prepared this, Toastmasters, our District 3, as we prepared for this, there were so many things that were going on, challenges that we were talking about, challenges that I was preparing to work through and deal with. And then yesterday happened. It was tough. I shouldn't say yesterday, but Wednesday happened. It was tough. And it's going to continue to be tough. But I promise you, if we work collaboratively, in collaboration with others, if we listen, if we work side by side, if we have an empowering approach, if we have a level of understanding for everyone, if we ask questions, and if we think your agenda and not my agenda, we'll make a difference. We will make a difference. Here's another rule that you can write down, and you can tweet this. You can put it in the chat. You can add this wherever you want to put it. You can put it on a sticky note, put it on your mirror in your bathroom so that you can see it every day. Here's a rule. Here's a rule. Write this rule down. This is how we lead through tough times. Love people more than policies. Love people more than policies, but love truth more than people. Golden nugget for you right there. Early this morning, if you're on the West Coast, early this morning, if you're on the East Coast, hey, it's late morning. You're still drinking your coffee. Hey, I know you're drinking hot chocolate. Golden rule right here. Love people more than policies, but love truth more than people. Where would our world be if we were more focused on that rule today? I'm encouraging you. Hey, love people more than policies, but love truth more than people. If you do that, I promise you, you'll win in every situation. It will be a win-win for you and the next person. It will be a win-win for you and the organization, for you and the department, for you and your church community, for you and your neighborhood community, wherever you go. Love people more than policies, but love truth more than people. Here's a second rule. Here's a second rule. Here's a second rule. I'm giving you a bunch of things today, huh? A bunch of things today this morning. Hey, we're here to have fun. Right? You can write in the chat if you have questions. We'll have a moderator at the end and we'll go through a few questions. I will take questions at the end, but I want to be sure that we understand as we go through this, as we go through, and you may say, Travis, hey, I'm a female, I'm older, I'm younger. How do I get through this? I promise you these steps will work. I promise you if you go through these things, thinking about what we just covered, looking at the directing versus making a difference list, looking at the first golden rule. Look, here's the second rule. Here's the second rule. Go out of your way to make a difference. We have to go out of our way to make a difference. Sometimes in order to make a difference, the opportunity is not right in front of our face. Sometimes we have to go out of our way to make a difference. I think about a couple years ago, and a mentor of mine, he was telling me a story about how, and he helped me as well, about how he had to drive 2 hours just to help someone with a flat tire. And I thought to myself, there is no way I'm going to drive. You'll be lucky if people drive 2 minutes these days to help someone with a flat tire. He was telling me he drove 2 hours to help someone with a flat tire. And I'm thinking, what in the world type of person is this? Yeah, I'm glad he's a mentor of mine, but what type of person is this? Only to find out that it was a grandmother. And he knew the grandson, and the grandson said, hey, I'm out of town and my grandmother's close to 2 hours away, and people keep passing her up, and it was snow. This is in the Midwest. It was snow. And the towing companies had said, unfortunately, it would be 6 hours before they could get there. And he said it meant more for him to go 2 hours in the snow to make a difference in the life of someone else. And I think about where we are today as a country. How many hours would you be willing to drive to make a difference in the life of someone else? So many people are putting policies before people. And if we are going to make a difference, you and I, we have to go out of our way to make a difference. No feat is too small in the eyes of someone else who really needs us. My 12-year-old daughter, she asked me yesterday, she said, Dad, you talk about loving people all the time. How do you love when people are destroying and showing hatred? How do we love during that? And I tell her that we just have to love in order to make a difference. We just have to continue to love. And it's going to get better, I promise you. I promise you, it's going to get better. But we just have to go out of our way to make a difference. Hey, Art Williams said this. Art Williams said, all you can do is all you can do. But all you can do is more than enough. Question for you. What can you do to create a difference-making experience within the life of someone else? What can you do? What can you do or say? What can we do to create a difference-making experience in the life of someone today? What can we do? What could we do? Thirdly, give first and give continually. This is how we lead through tough times. This is how we lead through chaotic times. Give first and give continually. It's an emotional time for us all. I hear you. I see you. Travis, this is not the America that I was brought up in. No, it's not. But if you and I are going to make a difference, this is how we're going to get through it. We're going to give first and we're going to give continually. When we refrain from giving with a scarcity mentality, the little we have will become less. When we give generously with an abundance mentality, what we give away will multiply. Henry Nouwen said that. The best antidote I've ever found for selfishness, and this is me, the best antidote I've ever found for selfishness is to think about helping other people and putting them first. We have to give first and give continually. This is how we're going to make it through these challenging times, these turbulent times. The fourth thing, be someone others can count on. Be someone others can truly count on. I've had a lot of people, and I'm sure you have too. There are a lot of people that's in your camp, but they're not in your corner. And in order for us to make a difference and lead through challenging times, we have to be someone others can count on. Say what you mean and mean what you say. I can hear my parents tell me, Travis, do not say anything that you do not mean. And if you mean it, you better say it. And the second part of that, my dad would always say, you better be a man of your word. Be someone others can count on. And right now, in this leadership sad environment and atmosphere that we're in, leadership sad culture that we're in, it's hard to count on our leaders. That's why this impact portion today is about us. How do we lead through tough times? And we do it by being someone others can count on. People they don't connect with someone they don't trust. If we establish that we're a man or woman, man and or woman of our word, people will begin to trust us. They will then begin to count on us. And we have too many examples right now in our communities, in our local communities, in our state communities, and in our federal communities that we can't count on our leadership. But I'm here today to tell you that we can lead through these tough times, and we can be very effective if we establish that we're going to be people. We're going to be someone. I'm going to be someone. We're going to be someone that others can count on. The fifth thing, take the high road. Take the high road. And be generous and believe the best in others. In taking the high road, it's one thing to be generous and believe the best in others, believe the best for others. And remember what we said moments ago. We talked about it, regardless if they're for us or against us. Our focus and our mentality has to be that we're for everyone. This is how we're going to lead effectively through tough times. Hey, it's not going to be over tomorrow. Unfortunately, the turbulent times we're in is not going to be over next week. It's not going to be over next month in February. I know Valentine's Day is coming up next month. Hey, we're only a month away. Hopefully you've started thinking about your Valentine. In the COVID world, last year Valentine's Day was open. This year Valentine's Day is going to be closed. 6 feet distancing. It's going to be a COVID atmosphere. Hey, we have to be generous and believe the best in others. Give people oxygen for their soul and be an encourager. Be a CEO. Yes, you looking like, is he talking to me? Yes, you're a CEO. You're a CEO. You and I, we're CEOs. You're CEOs. You're like, I don't have a business, Travis. I don't have a business. I haven't gone through the business process. I don't have a business plan. You do. You're a CEO. You're a chief encouragement officer. And that's how you give people oxygen for their soul. Be a chief encouragement officer at all times. Think about it. Who's been your greatest encourager? Who's been your greatest encourager up to this moment? Or who have been your greatest encouragers up to this moment? I can think of coaches at the high school level, professional level, and college level. I can think of teachers, professors. I can think of so many people who have been great encouragers in my life. And that's why my focus is to be, regardless of what others' view is of me, about me, around me, my focus is to be for other people, because so many people have been for me and in my corner and not just in my camp. Work at being continually successful in 3 areas. If you work in these 3 areas on continually being successful, I promise you, and we'll go to questions, I promise you, life will be so much more effective as you lead through tough times. The first area, if you continually work on being successful, is integrity in your life. Integrity in your life. The second area is consistency in your actions. If you're working on integrity in your life and you're consistently following through in those actions, man, what a time. What a leader you will be. We will be. And then thirdly, competency in your work. Competency in your work. Remember, I talked about learn, unlearn, and relearn. Showing others what you're doing and not holding it like a reservoir. Be a river where things flow to you and through you, not a reservoir where you just learn things and you hoard it to yourself. No, show your competency in your work so that others can grow. People will cling to an average way of life rather than change in order to get something better for fear of getting something worse. Here's a poem by John Greenleaf Whittier, and the poem is called Don't Quit. Don't quit. And John penned these words to paper. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is strange with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns, and many a failure comes about when he might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. and you never can tell just how close you are. It may be near when it seems so far. So stick to the fight when you're hardest hit. It's when things seem worst that you must not quit. Well, hey, if you do have questions or comments and you want to share, find me on LinkedIn. My name, as you see it for this session, find me on LinkedIn. That's the best way for us to work together as we improve upon where we are now as a city, as a state, as a society, as a nation, and as a world. Hey, that's all of my time. Take care. Enjoy the remainder of today. It's going to be an impactful day. I look forward to seeing you in additional sessions, and I hope you enjoyed this session as you move about your day. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care.